Okay, so can everybody see? Okay, so this is an ordinary ShopRite bag, and we can do this with grocery bags. We can also do it with newspaper bags, but the newspaper bags don't go quite as far. However, they're very colorful, so they're a lot of fun to work with. Now, if you look closely at the bag, you know when you go to the grocery store, they're all lined up like this, and they're nice and flat. And you'll notice there's a seam on the bottom, and you want to try and get that seam as flat and straight as possible. You're going to fold in the sides neatly so that the top also is nice and flat. And this is the most important part, because if you do this right, when you cut it, your lines will be straight, and then when you daisy chain them together, there will be less unevenness in the yarn. So we've got the bottom flat here, we've got the handle flat on one side. I'm going to do the same thing with the other one, and you want to be able to really see the seam at the top. Now, this is a little uneven, so I'm noticing on this bag that it's cut a little bit here, so I want to make sure that I fold it this way and I can see that part, and remember that I have to cut just below that tear. I'm going to fold it one more time. You see how flat it is and how even it is. Then, making sure that the bottom is even and the seam is lined up, I'm going to cut maybe 1/8 of an inch above that line just to make sure I get it all off. Maybe 1/2 an inch, 1/4 of an inch. I don't want to lose too much, but I want to make sure the line is straight. Then, remember, it was ripped right over there, so I'm going to cut right below that tear, make a straight line. Now I have a tube. The ShopRite bags are heavy duty and they're pretty thick, so I can get 4 loops out of a ShopRite bag. I'm folding it in half so the 2 edges that I just cut are even, and then that fold line that I just made, I'm going to cut. And you can pull against it a little bit to get a straight line. Then I'm able to cut both of them together. You might want to separate them. You're folding again and cutting right on the fold line. Folding and cutting on the fold line. Now I've got 4 even, equal loops. I'm going to open up the loops. All 4 of them. And some of these bags, I can show you, like the dollar store bags are thinner, so I would probably only do 3 loops instead of 4. Walmart is thinner, I'd do 3 instead of 4. I've got 2 loops here. I'm going to take 1 loop and put it through the other so that it looks like a T. Then I'm going to crinkle up one end, and I'm going to put it through the opening of the other end and let the opening drop. And then I'm going to grab the loop that's on the bottom, and very gently pull. And then when I start to get resistance, and remember these are plastic bags, so they will rip if you pull too hard. When I start to feel resistance, I get my fingers in there to loosen up the knot.
Same thing with paper bags?
Let me finish, Mark. So that's 2. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with the second 2 loops. Making a T, crinkling up one end, putting it through the opening, let the opening drop, and then we're going to gently pull the bag that's on the bottom. And when I start to get resistance, I put my finger in there to loosen it up so I can get a tighter knot. Now I've got 2 double loops, and we're going to take these double loops and do the same thing. I've got a double T, crinkle up one end, put it through the opening of the other, let the part that was open drop, And now this time, when I have double loops, when I'm pulling them, I'm gonna hold on to the knots so that the two sides, which make it 2-ply yarn, are even. And one more time, when it starts to get difficult, I get my finger in there and loosen it up. And now I have one length of yarn that I'm gonna roll on my hand, make into a ball, and it is ready to crochet with. And I can make about 9 stitches on one of those mats. So now each of you has bags, and there are some scissors. I don't know if there's enough scissors for every person, but you can share at your tables. I've got a couple more scissors here, and I can go around and help you.